The afternoon family of Recovered Actor and Bill. I need to take a moment so that the God of my understanding can do for me what I can't do for myself on most days, which is allow me to tell the truth about myself. I'm going to take that moment now, please. Once again, I am an egomaniac with delusions of grandeur, and I suffer from low self-esteem. I'm an addict recovering from the disease of addiction, and my name is Bill. I want to thank Marcus for the setup. I love him. Well, you know, the topic is our message is hope and the promise of freedom. The promise of freedom. You know, and a lot of times we'll hear people tell, well, what is the message of Narcotics Anonymous? And they'll say the message is that an addict, any addict, can stop using, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live. But that statement is short, and it's missing something. Because the first part of our message says an addict, any addict, can stop using drugs, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live. Just like anything else in this process, it's threefold: physical, mental, and spiritual. When you start talking about the first part of our message, we're talking about the physical. Stop using drugs. Whatever it was that chased your ass up in here, it was drug related. Then when we talk about losing the desire to use, that's a person, place, thing, situation, circumstance, and drug. See, after you put the drug down, a bunch of other shit comes up. And then we talk about finding that new way to live. It's a spiritual aspect of this disease. Because what do you have to change in recovery? For me, it was every goddamn thing. So when we talk about a promise of freedom, you know, I've heard it shared, one promise, many gifts. Once we regain the freedom to choose, because before I got here, when I was actively using, my choice was mandated by disease. I had to get one, and I had to get one now. I didn't care what it took, who I had to take advantage of, whatever was necessary for me to get that next fix. You know, and okay. First, I want to thank the Men's Recovery Conference for inviting me down here again. You just don't know how much I needed this. You know, over the course of the past month, I can actually say I stepped into a financial hell. And it's based on decisions made long ago, and it's based on recent decisions. But when I say that, it's like it took me to a place whereas what I'm going to do now. When we talk about the mental aspect of the disease, and we're talking about finding a new way to live, and you thought you were living in that new way, did you find yourself in a position physically where you felt like you used? How about I'm down at the World Convention and in the middle of a financial jackpot, some shit that I wasn't expecting happened. You know the old saying, you want to make God laugh, make a plan? Well, Bill had a plan for this convention for 2 years. I was planning for the World Convention for 2 years. I had booked a bunch of rooms, I had a bunch of people coming with me, and booked flights, all kinds of shit. We was going to do it big. I was ready. I was financially ready. I was ready to have a good goddamn time. I was going to go be with my people. How about I get a call, my flight leaves at noon. I get a call and say, well, your flight has been canceled. And I'm thinking there's something wrong with the airline. Come to find out, it was the credit card company had thought there were some financial misdealings going on with my credit card, so they put out a fraud alert and stopped all the purchases that were made, which happened to be 3 flight tickets and about 8 hotel rooms. Now, I'm thinking this shit is all paid, but it was on hold. So when the credit card company snatched all of that shit, the airlines called and said, you ain't got no tickets. Now I'm calling the people that's going with me. I'm like, look, I ain't got no tickets. And I had tried to explain this to them. They said, well, what are we going to do? I said, well, it looked like I'm not going. Then I realized that the people that are down there waiting on me can't check into their rooms because they're all booked in my name. So I got no choice but to go. So just like that, we packed the car and we on the road, hauling ass. We get all the way down there. Since everything was put on hold, all I got is my spending cash in my pocket. And I got to pay for all of these rooms now, because they were already taken care of. But I get down there, and the spending cash ain't covering all these rooms. So I called my son, he sent me what he could, and I pay off these rooms. Now I'm standing there in the hotel for the World Convention with 42 goddamn cents. Don't know how I'm getting home, you know. So, needless to say, I'm in the jackpot. But you see, when we talk about hope, a lot of times the hope is in the people that you travel with, the people that you walk this road with. You know, because I'm ready there and I'm down there, and I got to tell you, I was fucking broken. I was broken because here I am, all the way down here, something that I had put my heart and soul into for the last 2 years. It was going to be the end all, the be all, only to find out you can't even go to the motherfucking convention because you ain't got money for registration. Oh. Then I had somebody walk up to me, and I love you, Hank, for doing this. He walked up to me, he's like, man, what is you worried about? He's like, here, take this. Now go enjoy the convention. I broke down and cried. And you need to understand that touch and emotion in me that I hadn't felt since I had 60 days clean. That was the last time I had cried in recovery. And when I was crying that time, it's because I had watched the movie Rocky, and I saw him at the end when he was going, Adrian, Adrian. And I was thinking about my girl when I was calling her. Now, that's the last time I had cried. Now, I'm standing there, and I broke down. Because we have people coming around here telling us, we love you, I love you, I love you. Love is an action word. That's right. Love is not what you say, love is what you do. That's right. And what I'm talking about here is the hope. See, when I got this topic, I didn't hear promise of freedom, or message is hope, and promise of freedom. I didn't hear none of that. All I heard was hope. Because here I am in the middle of this month trying to balance myself from that financial wreckage that I had just experienced in Florida and the hope that came out of that, and then the IRS show up and lock down all my shit. Wages, salary, all of that shit. I'm like, well, how much more can I take? You see, when we talk about a new way to live, it's how do you get through those storms? You know, Lenny was talking about character defects that he's still working on some 31 years later. That gave me a sense of relief. Because what I went through at that point in time, when that shoe hit, was another set of character defects. I went back to isolation. Because I got fear of being judged. Even though I had the experience of what the hope and love of this program had to offer just 2 weeks earlier, I put that off to the side and got to the woe is me piece. Didn't want to talk to nobody. Because ain't nobody going to understand. But you got certain individuals that are like, look, what's going on with you, dude? But he texted me one day. He's like, your phone is off. Are you okay? At that time, I was. I didn't know the phone had got turned off. But and see, I guess what I'm trying to get at, you can't travel this road alone. You can't travel this road alone. And I'm talking about, I've got a sponsor, I've got a network, but again, it goes back to being love being an action word. People showing up when you least expect it, with no expectation. You know, we was coming down here today, and I was so ready, because I'm traveling with my road dogs. You know, we're going to have a good time, so we start out. And I'm not driving this time. I just did all that goddamn driving to Florida. I didn't want to drive. So I'm not driving. So we driving along, and this big-ass rainstorm hit. The motherfucker's wipers went out. Snap. It's like, oh, shit. It's coming down hard. Ain't no wipers. I'm like, God damn. So I said, let's inch up to the road. We go to this place. They happen to be open at 7:30 in the morning. And the dude take a look at it, and he said, it's going to be $406 to fix. And my man was like, well, I got the credit card. I was like, look, man, we ain't doing that. Because this shit ain't nothing but a bolt or a snap or something, but we ain't doing that. He's like, well, we got to go. I said, look, we going to take the low road back to my house. We're going to get my car, and we coming. And that's what the fuck we did. And you see, the whole time, you know, I had people let me know that that's life and that's what happens. And you got to make the best out of a bad situation. And God damn it, did we make it? Well, I made the best out of it. Because I was busting that motherfucker's ass up and down the road. I was like, yeah, we driving along on a yellow brick road of recovery, and the wipers go out. Now what we gonna do? You know, and at first he wanted to take it personal. He's like, y'all ain't no good. And I had to let him know, it's like, no, brother, it's like after the month that I just been through, I'm glad to see that it's not just me. And see, the joy was being in the journey, because we could have just as easily made it back town, called Phil and said, look, we ain't going to make it. But once we started on the journey to get down here, there was nothing that was going to get in the way of us getting here. See, the importance of this conference is not for me to get up here and share my experience, strength, and hope. The importance of this conference is for that one person who may be thinking that this shit ain't got nothing to offer them. They may be wondering what it is they're doing here. They may be formulating a plan that when I leave here, I got to get me one. My job is to rob you of that reservation. Okay? So when we talk about that new way to live, let me get to this right quick. So, I'm in the middle of all these financial difficulties. Right? So, being the type of person that I am, I was going, shit, I know a way to fix this. I can go do some shit. But as we were driving, my partner Dave said, he's like, why is it people can do things and not pay a spiritual price? He said, if I was to do something like that, I would pay a spiritual price. And I looked at him and said, because they're not spiritually connected. See, the connection that you have to make in this process, it's not about what you say. It's not even about what you do. It's about what you feel. See, the feelings that you have about this process, if you're not grateful that the God of your understanding gave you a choice this morning, then maybe you're in the wrong place. See, it's not about financial. It's not about the money. It's not about the cars. It's about peace. When we talk about a promise of freedom, you can be dead ass broke, be happy as hell. Because I'm telling you, we were coming back down the road, I am dead as broke. But I am the happiest I've been in a very long time. 30 days to be exact. I've been happier today than I've been in a very long time. Because the realization has come back on me that I'm not in this by myself. I got a room full of men that knows what it's like to be willing to do anything right now for one more. And we don't have to do that. We have been given a new way to live. It's spiritual in nature. And we must work on our spiritual condition. That's a prerequisite of this process. So, he gave me the 5-minute sign about 3 minutes ago. So I'm going to end this with a quick story. I love stories. Okay, there's this mouse. And he was running through the farmer and his wife's kitchen. The wife sees the mouse and she screams, "Honey, honey, we got a mouse in the kitchen." The farmer says, "That's okay, I'll take care of it." So he goes into town and he picks up a mouse trap and he comes back and he puts the trap down. The mouse sees the trap. He's like, "Well, I'll be damned. They got a trap." So he runs out to the chicken and says, Miss Chicken, they just bought a mouse trap. What am I going to do?" The chicken looked at him and said, "I'm a chicken. What do I care about a mouse trap?" So he runs out to the pig and says, Mr. Pig, they just bought a mouse trap. What am I going to do?" The pig looked at him and said, "One of my hooves wouldn't even fit in that trap." He's like, "What the hell do I care about a mouse trap?" He runs to the cow and said, Miss Cow, they just bought a mouse trap. What am I going to do?" The cow continued to chew her cud and said, "That ain't my problem. You need to go on about your business." Later on that night, the trap goes off, snap. The wife runs downstairs, thinking that she caught the mouse. She picks it up and it's a snake. The snake bit her. The wife gets sick. The husband tries to nurse the wife back. So he goes out, takes the chicken, chops off his head, makes some chicken soup. Okay? The wife didn't get any better. She had to go into the hospital. They had family come down and they said, "Well, we're going to have to defeat the family to come to visit the wife." So they go out and they slaughter the hog. Ham steaks and all that other shit. Well, the wife wound up dying. And everybody comes around for the funeral. Now, in order to feed the people for the funeral, they go out and they butcher the cow. I share this to share this. What affects one of us directly